Difference. Humans don't like it very much. We judge it, we mock it, we reprimand it. More usefully, we accept it, we're curious about it, and we value it. We're all different, they say, but how much difference can we each tolerate? And what if, when you have a child, your child seems different? Perhaps they don't settle very easily. Perhaps they're oversensitive to lights and sounds. They need to be rocked all the time. They don't sleep very much. You don't sleep very much. You feel quite exhausted. They don't even want to play those baby games that you dreamed about doing when you were pregnant and that your mum said you absolutely loved doing when you were small. They don't seem very happy. You're not very happy at all. All your friends with their new babies, they're all doing it really well. They're having a ball. You remember that glass of Prosecco you had when you were pregnant? You think maybe it's that. Maybe that's what's caused all the difficulties. Then you remember the C-section, the hours of pain, the labour. You couldn't even do that bit right. You feel like a really bad mum, perhaps the worst mum in the world. In shameful silence, you just try and keep going. Your mum tells you you just need more of a routine with the baby. Your dad says put those boundaries in, show them who's boss. Your partner tries to reassure you. And your friends say they'll settle in time. Health visitor comes and does their 15th month check. And they do their developmental assessment, and your baby isn't developing as they should be. They're not developing at all in any areas. So they rattle off a number of referrals, about 5 or 6 in total. You feel like your child is broken. You feel really low, so you tell them that. So they suggest you go and see your GP. Perhaps you need to go on to one of the parenting courses they've got as well. And there's loads of support groups out there for you. 6 months later, 50 odd professional visits and support group visits, nothing has changed. Except now, your child's throwing themselves on the floor, they're lashing out, they're playing with water, they can't walk, they can't talk, they can't sit at the table and eat. You're on antidepressants. The support group stuff, well, that just made you feel different. Alone, scared, isolated, tired beyond tired, you keep trying to do your best and parent your child. You're trying to implement hundreds of ideas that you've been given. It just feels pointless and useless. You start to worry about the future. You start to have lots of what's ifs. What if my baby never walks? What if they never talk? What if I can't go out? What if I just get excluded from society and my baby? Those questions and worries, they're held by mums and dads of many, many children who have a developing learning disability across the world. And it's not unusual for the families and the children to be referred to many, many, many places, all designed to help, and to have to attend several appointments a week to go and get their child fixed. Each one of those people feels alone. The blame, the shame, the sadness, the being told what to do, just increases and entrenches the difficulties. If this continues, this is one of those children that will end up in a care home, out of county, where parents can't visit because it's too far away, or even worse, in the forensic settings. It doesn't have to be this way. What if, when you were struggling, you found other people who actually understood what you were going through and could validate your experiences? What if there were others who were finding it even harder but had found a way forward? And what if the first concerns from the professional system were actually in supporting you to understand your child better and to nurture your relationship with your child? This is what holistic, community-driven, preventative care really looks like. A new approach takes pressure off waiting lists, nurtures attachments, reduces stress and anxiety in parents, and system overload is prevented. Those unhelpful patterns of referrals to various places, all organised by managers who are trying to be helpful, is the current system. But these children have a multifaceted condition. They aren't broken. The parents just need more chapters in that parenting manual. We need seamless, integrated, whole child care. In Cardiff and the Vale, I lead a small team called Clogad, and we are creating that shift in the landscape of support for these families. We start every contact with a family with kindness, connection, active listening, difference to be celebrated, curiosity, humanity at heart. We see the child in context. We embed parental expertise, and we think holistically. We've also secured some funding for EPATs, early positive approaches to support, in which families are seen, heard and validated. EPATs is an evidence-based group support, co-produced right from the start and delivered by both a professional and a parent carer. Central to it is no judgment, complete understanding that each child and each family is unique, and embraces connective, curious listening and conversations together. In essence, families find their village. So far, we've run 12 of these groups. We now have an army of empowered, connected, less isolated, not self-blaming or despairing parents who have found a different path and they are forging their way forward. Professionals in these groups gain so much too. They see different perspectives and they understand that this child is in a context. But this is just the start. We now have a battle for funds to embed and grow this approach and create a better pathway of care. There's an urgent need for services to stop responding in the ways that they do. They are doing more harm than good. Siloed working really isn't helpful. Connecting, listening, and not knowing needs to be part of the approach alongside the intervention targets and those episodes of care. We want to put this approach into Wales and beyond. We need to stop the amount of children going into residential and forensic care. My voice, Clogad's voice, and the voice of parent carers urgently needs to be heard. This is what has kept me awake at night for nearly 7 years. My voice hasn't been heard, much like the voice of these children and families. I and they are invisible to the system. I have wanted to give up. I have felt helpless. I have felt despairing. I did a business plan a little while ago to the Regional Partnership Board. It just came back covered in red pen like a failed essay, saying we're already doing enough to these families. I was also part of a leading improvement in patient safety project in which we created a supportive multidisciplinary process with parent voices at its core. But that wasn't accepted. It was too difficult to do because each team had different waiting times and it was difficult to log on the electronic system. It hasn't stopped us though. We see the same issues daily when we're out there, and we can see what does make a difference and what change needs to happen. We have the courage to keep going and to make this system change. We're passionate, we have hope, we have belief, we have excitement. Things really can be different. We are wasting so much resource currently. Simple change can actually make a huge difference. So difference means doing something different from the start. We need to think about the child's interests, their motivations, and support choices that help them to make choices, and then have an influence in the world. Child-centred care, that is what it's called. Integrated care plans that are unique to each child and family. And we need to listen to parent carers and create those pathways led by them with the lived experience. This army will keep marching. We need to make a difference to a population that is different. So next time you meet a difference, please do something that makes a difference.